Good evening, everybody. We're going to call to order the meeting for the Martin Farms residents. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody in attendance for coming through tonight, and thank you for everybody tuning in online. It's good to have this meeting. We're pretty excited to talk about this new project. It is the primary underground electric service project. We're kicking it off in Martin Farms, so tonight we wanted to share with you guys the information that we have, hear any questions or comments for you guys, and answer anything we possibly can. Before we get started, I want to introduce ourselves. My name is Matt McCoy. I'm a councilman here in the city of Seaford. Most importantly tonight, I am also a Martin Farms resident. I live right in the same neighborhood you guys do, and I'm pretty excited about this project as well. To my left is our city manager, Charles Anderson, and to my right is Bill Bennett, our director of electric. So we're going to kick it off, and first and foremost, Bill has a presentation that we're going to get to in a moment, but if you guys have any questions off the top of your head or any comments that we can address right now, we'd be more than happy to address those. If you have a question or comment, if you want to come up to the podium and just announce who you are, and then we can address anything that might be on your mind initially. Yes, sir.
I don't want to ask anything until you
Could you come up to the
I mean, I don't really want to ask anything until anything's done because you may answer it.
Okay.
10-4. 10-4. Okay.
Thank
So let's go through a presentation. Maybe that might highlight some of the points you guys might be looking for. So, Bill, if you don't mind.
Sure. As he said, I'm Bill Bennett, Director of Electric for the City of Seaford. Once again, thanks all of you for coming out to discuss this project in your area. The project, we're going to run the electric wires from overhead to underground. This will reduce the outages and tree trimming, and the power will have a long life expectancy. The project will replace aging infrastructure that's 50, 60, 70 years old back there. So,
I think we went past.
There you go.
there you go. So, twice. Martin Farms was originally laid out by the DuPont company when it came to Seaford back in the 40s and 50s for their supervisors. There's an easement in your backyard, in the backyards, because the city has electric, water, and sewer lines running back there, but also telephone and cable were run in the backyards. Many of the properties have fences, landscaping, sheds, and other items in this easement, making it hard for us to get back there to the infrastructure to work on it when we do have an outage. Originally, all of the electric services to the houses were run underground. They came down the pole and went over to the houses. They were all run underground. The city regulations placed the cost and maintenance for underground secondary service wire on the property owners. So through the years, if a service went bad, a lot of them changed it to overhead because it was cheaper, and they did it for a financial reason. This also created a tree trimming problem back there to keep these electric services free from the trees in the backyards. Right now, the city brings in a tree contractor about every 3 years to go back there and clear it from the trees and the overhead primary wires at a cost of about $10,000, $10,000 to $12,000 each time he comes in there. That picture there is kind of hard to see, but it looks like it was taken in a wintertime shot, so the trees aren't in full bloom. The city of Seaford, over the last 12 months, citywide, has had 32 outages, recorded outages, unscheduled outages, throughout the whole city. And there's the different causes of it. Circuit 280, the circuit Martin Farms is on, and I'm on, actually all three of us are on it, is the largest circuit of our distribution system. It serves most of Woodside Manor, all of Bel Air, all of Governor's Grant, and everything west of Shipley Street down to Harrington Street. south of Harrington Street on the river is a different circuit. Circuit 280 had 16 outages over the last 12 months. So half of the outages in Seaford were on that circuit. Martin Farms area in this town is the single most area with the most reported outages. And like I said, because of the fences and large trees, is the hardest area to get electric restored to. In the last year, we had 6 tracked outages just in Martin Farms. And that was a total of 575 minutes and affected 78 customers when I added them all up. Most of them are wind and storms. You see a couple of them up there at Christmas and Christmas Eve when that little front came through and caused a little havoc that night. One of them was one night where to fix another problem, we had to cut a few more customers off to safely fix a problem. The city has been looking at placing this electric service underground for about 10 years. We've been getting it engineered and putting money away. We've put money aside for the last 3 years to work on this project, and July 1st is a new year for us. So this will be the 4th year. The cost, the estimated cost is a little over $250,000 to do this project. What the city would do, we would place transformers at the end of the development between Rodney Street and Reed Street up on Farm Street, and between Reed Street and McKean Street. We would bore, turn this on. Up here where the school playground is, there's a pole in that playground. And we would bore down Farm Street and run the primary to the 2 transformers at the end of those streets, and then actually go across to the last 2 houses on Nylon Boulevard because they feed off that circuit too. And then we would bore from Farm Street all the way down to Locust Street on each one. And then on Locust Street, we would just come down the poles and set the transformer right at the base of the pole. So there would be no high voltage running through there underground. It would just be secondaries. And then where these dots are, and you can't see them, probably can't see them there, where these dots are, we would put pedestals in your backyard. And that's this green box sitting right here. So about a foot of that gets buried underground. So you'd have that green box in your backyard. So we would bore down there and set those pedestals. And then the city would run would install 200 amp underground services to each house. Some houses, I think there's one in there still only has a 60 amp service from back when they built it in the 40s. But most of them have been upgraded. So at no cost to the property owner, we would run all new underground from this pedestal to your meter socket on your house. Once again, as per our regulations, once it's installed, it would be, as it was originally, would be the owner's responsibility to maintain it in the future. Also, we would direct bury this, and we would hire a contractor to do from the pedestal to the houses, because you have to be a licensed electrician. We're linemen, we're not electricians. If somebody wanted to put it in conduit, when I go out to bid for the electricians, we'll get a cost for conduit. If you want yours in conduit, the homeowner would just pay for the conduit. So this would take all of the overhead power lines and transformers out of the backyard. It would put them all on the end of the road, easy to get to. Wouldn't have to take down fences or cut trees to get into the backyards anymore to do any work on them. We would then cut the poles down to the Verizon's wires running through there, because Verizon and Comcast would still be on the poles. I've talked to them. It's hard to get meetings with them. You know, if they want to go underground at the same time, once they got off the pole, we would pull the poles right out of the backyards. So, like I say, we'll have a contractor do all the directional drilling. We would place it. Our plans right now, this fall, is to do between Rodney and Reed Street, starting this fall, probably in about October, depending on the delays on getting material in, because stuff that used to come in 12 weeks is taking 20 weeks now. So we would install the portions between Rodney and Reed Street first. This is the line with the most outages because it's 3-phase running through there. So if a limb falls, it can lay across them and blow 3 fuses. Between Reed and McKean Street, it's a single line. So if a tree falls, most of the time it hits it, blows the fuse, and falls down. So it's just a matter of putting a new fuse in. Then next year, it may get delayed 2 years because of price increases, because of COVID. We'll come back and do the other one between Reed and McKean Street. If prices aren't increased a whole lot, we'll have enough money to do it next year. So we'll just have to wait and see until we get the bids. Like I say, the city will direct bury the services to the houses. If you want to go with conduit, you would just pay the price of the conduit. I can't give you that price now because it's changing weekly. And that's really all I have, but it is a project we've been working on for 10 years to try to get it up and running. It's the worst area for outages, and some of the hardest ones. I know a couple years ago in the snow when that big limb fell in the one backyard, half of that area was out for about 12, 14 hours. Time you could get in there, get the tree limb cut out, get the 3 primaries pulled up, and get everything done. So that's what we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to get rid of the worst outage problem we have, get your electric more reliable, and then when we do have a problem, it'll be easier and quicker to work on and get your power back up. So that's going through it, what I had. If you have any questions, come up and we'll ask the questions and I'll try to give you an answer.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Bill mentioned they've been working on this project for over a decade, and really appreciate you and your team put so much effort behind it. If there are questions or comments, now would be the time. You'd have to come to the podium. We're here to answer any questions you might have. If you have a question, just simply raise your hand and just come on.
I can't give my name due to witness protection issues. I'm Bobby Reese. I live on McKean Street.
Hey, Bobby.
Third house down from the park. Just a couple questions. When you say bore, everything is going to be bored? There won't be, other than the individual holes for these in the backyard? Everything will be bored, no trenches?
That's correct.
Including to the house?
To the house, we'll get a price on boring and trenching. Depends what the electrician can do.
Okay.
Some electricians can bore, some trench.
Understood.
And also, I didn't mention it, but, you know, these pedestals are marked on that print, but things may have changed since this print was done 2 years ago.
Right.
If somebody has something in their backyard, we're not gonna go from the pedestal right straight to your house. We'll work with you.
Well, that was part of what I was going to ask you, because in my backyard, there is one of the main sewer drains. Okay, so I'm assuming that the sewer line runs parallel to the fence.
It does, yes.
So are we gonna have issues as we come to the house? Are they gonna be able to bore under them, over them? How do they do that?
Yeah,
And
well,
also, just quickly, since it becomes the homeowner's responsibility after this is installed, is there any warranty period with this wiring? If something should go wrong for, let's say, a year or 2 years, is it the property owner's problem that something wasn't done right? Or where does that responsibility lie on the repair side of that?
yeah, the wire doesn't come with a warranty.
Right,
You know, none of the wire I buy comes with a warranty. The electricians, I mean, when we put it out for bid, we can have that question in there.
okay.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion. Related to the water sewer, because I believe water and sewer in most of people's backyards.
Yeah,
So
it
we'll,
is.
yeah, we'll locate those, and then typically, if they bore it, they have to excavate that if there's any conflict there. So they'll excavate it, they'll site it, and they'll bore around it. But typically, electric is above water and sewer. The sewer's pretty deep there.
Right.
Water's about 4 foot deep. By code, this needs to be 12 or 18 inches.
Yeah, for frost line or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
just,
secondary is because it's only 240 volts and
Right.
it'll be in pipe. It can be as high as 18, but we try to keep it 24 inches deep. But if they need to, when they're boring, like Mr. Anderson said, they test pit, you know, where your sewer lateral goes to your house or whatever, they'll dig down and test pit that. And if it's right where they need to go, as they're running that bore down there, they can lower it and raise it up, so they can go around things and under things and over things. So,
Very good. Yeah, and the only other thing I was concerned about was cutting off the poles. The pole in my backyard's caught on fire twice. And the solution was a cross arm, you know, drilled in sideways. So once that goes, the primary's gone. But how far down, I haven't looked to see, because first I've heard the Verizon lines are staying there. Where is that gonna, you know, I gotta go look to see where that's gonna fall, below or above where this is anchored the way they did it.
oh, it'll be below that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
And the primary will come down.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah, it'll.
I know they're below it, but
Yeah.
it's a cross arm that's bolted on there right now. And, you know, I know that has to go because that's where the primary
Yeah.
is. So I'm just concerned about where it would be cut below that. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Bobby. Dave?
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm 45 Reed Street. So just not really a question, but maybe just something to think about. Like, I just had some work done on my house a couple of years ago. So I've already buried my line, a new line, like 3 years ago. It'd be a shame to spend the extra money doing all that extra work. And my thought is, for people that do have buried lines, most of those are coming straight off of the pole. But I'm looking at where the green dots are, and I know you mentioned that that could all change. But just thought for like somebody like myself, you know, if you did those pedestals, there's already, you know, you're going to have the space to work around for those already. I just wonder if it might be more cost effective to consider putting those pedestals where the existing poles are as close as they could be. Again, I don't know, you know, if we can just, if it works out to just cut the tops off and we don't have to remove the poles. I mean, they're already there. Just something to think about. I mean, if the pedestal's there, it would be a matter of someone just digging down like a foot, you know, to tie into the existing line rather than doing all the extra work. So it's just something from my perspective, I would rather have a pedestal over in that direction, because when I'm looking at it here, it's right in the middle. In that particular area, there's 2 fences back to back, so for them to have to do that, it would be unsightly for whoever's neighbor it ends up having to fall on. I think if we can put it closer to the pole, for the people that do have the buried lines, that's where it's buried anyways, right off of that pole.
Yes.
So I was just thinking maybe that might be something to consider as well. So,
good suggestion.
okay.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Any other questions or suggestions? All right. Go, Joe.
If you haven't, if you think of one, I know how I am. You know, once you leave, you go, God, I wish I'd asked that. I mean, you can give me a call at work or on the city's website. You can send any, you know, on an email through the website. and they'll send that to us, and we'll get you an answer, so. Sure.
Bill 33 reading. What are we looking at as far as interruptions for service, power, things like that?
It'll be very limited, because we can do the boring and pull all the secondaries in and place the pedestals, and have everything ready to go. Then the electrician can put your wire in, you know, bury your wire, put it up into the pedestal, and then the only outage you'll have is when he unhooks your house and converts it to the new wire. Each house will be a little bit different, you know, I don't know how your house is, whether he needs to change the meter socket or not.
Well, I mean, I guess like Dave's, mine's already buried also. So is that even gonna,
So,
do I
yeah,
even need, I won't even need anybody for that, I wouldn't
yeah,
think, right?
the outage should be a minimum outage, something like that.
I mean, like ETA, what do we, average outage, what are we looking at as far as time frame?
Probably an hour to 2
Oh, okay.
hours per house.
Alright.
And we'll notify you,
Considering,
when it's the day, we'll notify you ahead of time, it's gonna, your house will be scheduled for this day.
so they're gonna get the whole street done in a day? Or, I mean, how long is this whole project gonna take just on that first phase?
They'll actually do all the drilling, directional drilling for us across Farm Street and down between the streets in probably 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is where the pedestals are gonna go, when we locate them, we'll dig down to the conduit that they bore. We'll dig down where the pedestal's gonna go, elbow it up inside the pedestal, and then pull our secondary wire in.
So, how's that done? Are you coming in like on Rodney Street side? You have to go in each individual backyard to keep digging under like fences and things like that? I mean, how does that work exactly?
I'll come right out here.
I say, cause like there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of stuff to go around.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how you actually go about doing that.
When he goes to drill, what he'll do, they'll set up one rig here and one rig here, and they'll go one way or the other. They'll do one bore all the way through there.
So they're not actually going into yards?
They will not,
They're
no.
like meeting in the middle, more or less?
Yep, they'll drill from here and pull conduit all the way down, one pull. It's about 1,000 feet.
That's interesting. Okay.
And then the way this one's laid out here, like these two houses feed right out of the transformer. Then there'll be a pedestal here that feeds these two houses, pedestal here that feeds these two and that one, pedestal here that feeds those.
And those are basically where the poles are now?
Some of them are right where the poles are. The engineer went out there and looked at it. They're close to the poles.
I'll just.
And like I say, we can move these. It's not cast in stone.
Right.
Like the one gentleman, I don't know what's your address.
45 Reed. I think it's the
On
other
the other
So
side.
you're over here, yeah, and you'll actually be the second phase of it over there, but, yeah, where that is, if you feed, I don't know which side you feed from now. If it means putting
It's
another,
about right there, right where your finger, like right now you have it in the middle, but the pole is right on the 46, 45.
okay, so,
That's where the pole is.
Yeah.
Right in between those two pedestals. That's what I was saying. The pedestal went to that.
Yeah.
So I would have buried it right on that.
yeah, so if it means putting another pedestal in, that's what we'll do.
Right.
Like you say, if you got a new service running there, there's no need to,
Well, that's why I was just hoping
Rip
that
it out.
maybe the homeowner can, because this is a smaller project as far as the number of
Yeah.
customers that I'm hoping that they can at least consult with the customer just for the feasibility of it from both sides, from the cost perspective plus,
yes.
eliminating things that might be obtrusive in someone's yard.
Yeah, but, yeah, we'll work, as we go through there, we'll work with them,
Right.
with the residents on the exact placement. If it means adding another one, It's one of those and 2 elbows and a coupling.
And I'm sorry, which one did you say was coming first?
In between Rodney and Reed.
One will be first, the other one will be like 2 years, you said it?
Yeah, hopefully a year if cost, you know, if some costs are actually coming back down now, so if it stays within budget, that'll be next year. So, next fall of '22. So,
My only other question is, what do we have to do to completely remove the poles completely?
to remove them completely, Verizon and Comcast have to get off of them. The guy that does our boring actually told me he gave me a guy's name from Comcast, who isn't the name that I have for utilities. And he said, give that guy a call. He said, because Comcast is looking to get out of backyards. He said, so he would probably want to go underground too.
Can we do that? I mean, they're unsightly as they
I
are.
mean, that's, we can't make them do it.
No, I know.
But, I mean, we'll work with them because the guy that does our boring does their boring too.
I mean, if you're doing it all at once, why
And
not do it
that's,
all at the same
yeah,
time?
he says if you can get them, either one of them or both of them to do it, he said, I can set up and pull 3 conduits through there.
I mean, do we need a petition or something for that, or, I mean, because I'd love to see that pole gone. That's,
I
and
would
it doesn't
too.
need to be there at all.
A couple fences may not like it because couple of them, it's the corner post of their fence, but,
It's probably not that bad.
but not many of them in
I
there.
mean, eventually it would all heal up and it'll look a lot better,
Yeah.
and be a lot less problems, because as you know, there's trees everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Bill, what we can do is follow up with Verizon and Comcast and see what we can do in advance of this project.
Okay. Be a greatly appreciate it if it could be done.
Yeah. I know, I would love to see them out of there too.
Definitely.
You know, of course, once we get the electric off, you know, it really doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but other than it would make like you said, makes the backyards look a lot nicer.
Right, and the houses aren't going anywhere, so might as well do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions or comments at this time? Okay. Like Bill said, Mr. Bennett is around. You can reach him anytime. City Manager Anderson, myself. If you have any more questions or comments beyond tonight, feel free to reach us any time. I'm excited for this project. I think it'll eliminate a lot of hassles from past outages. Martin Farms, in my opinion, is truly unique given all the trees and things of nature we have in our backyard, which makes it a special location. So I'm excited to see what this project can bear. Charles, I don't see anything else for old business. Is that correct?
You are correct, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Andrews, am I correct? We had no one submit any comments? Okay, just checking.
All right. All right. Without any more questions or comments, I will call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. All right. Motion passed. Thank you guys all very much for coming in tonight, and we will adjourn.